So this happened, it hasn't really been that long, but it happened like last week-ish? Yeah, it was with the like whole reveal of Stellar Blade 2, right? He had, all of these people coming out and crashing out about Eevee's design, and Asmongold was one of those people, and, he would go, like, have his debate with Emerald on Twitter, and, he would, talk about it more on stream and stuff, and, the whole lolly stuff came up. Again, I don't really know how, because Eevee is not a fucking lolly, but sure. And Asmongold said that a character is not a lolly. What character? Frieren. Frieren is most definitely a fucking lolly. Let's get into this. I'm excited. Espiritu's fucking awesome. He's fucking based. We love this. We love this goofy goober around these parts, alright?
Oh boy, how this escalated. We have Frieren, Asmongold, and Stellar Blade, all in the same conversation.
Sounds fun.
I'd wake up to. So as you can tell from the intro of the video, this isn't exactly a video that I thought I would be making. A combination of Asmongold, Stellar Blade, and
it's one hell of a combo.
In the same conversation is definitely a weird combination. And to be very clear, I have no hatred towards any of the people that I'm talking about. I'm just simply being very blunt and very critical. You know how I can be. I can be a very blunt instrument, but I am very adamant.
If you can't be critical of like your quote unquote people, then I mean you're operating at a. You should be able to criticize those who you typically agree with. Like again, like I don't have any problems with Asmongold. Even though I've been, very vocally critical of his, comment on the abortion stuff. I was critical of him with the Stellar Blade stuff. Just because I'm critical of Asmongold doesn't mean I hate him or I somehow can't, continue to watch Asmongold or you have to stop support. I still largely agree with Asmongold. I would say, I would agree with him, 98% of the time.
Against how Asmongold has worded things. God, I could talk about his previous takes as well and how he's worded those, but that's a whole different topic, not for this channel. Maybe I could talk about it on stream, and I plan to talk about this topic more on stream because, and I may also be on Leon's stream, Words of Paradise, talking about this as well, because I'm actually a very big fan of Stellar Blade. Funny enough, I've got the game on PS5. I don't have a PS5. My friend bought it for me. I'm still meaning to get a PS5, but of course you can play it on PC. So it's like, yeah, I like having physical copies. I'm just one of those types of people. But when I look at this game, Stellar Blade is a game that I really love for a multitude of reasons. One, the kind of the story that it is. I mean, I could spend 30 minutes going over that. I won't spend heaps of time, but it's a game that I like for a multitude of reasons. And no, it's not just because it's goon material. But there's a lot of cool story elements that I really like.
Yeah, I mean, I do. I heard mostly positive things when it came to Stellar Blade, right? Like the whole censorship controversy when that was first popping off. That was more or less how I learned about Stellar Blade, and from there, I do think when people played the game, a lot of people really enjoyed the game.
About it.
I think a lot of people really like the story and stuff.
Check out my stream when I do cover it, and I'll go into more detail of why I like Stellar Blade as a game. But when looking at the whole situation with Asmongold, I don't understand why he is doubling.
It really got out of hand.
Down, tripling down, and going so far, because even his own audience is slowly starting to shift against him and being like, hey, bro, this is kind of an L take. But Asmongold has always been somewhat consistent in being against lolly-based content.
Yeah, I mean, he's always been against it, right? He's always been, a normie. He doesn't really watch anime, right? He's not big on anime. He's a normie, right? He's a normie.
Which is why this.
Hey, again, it's like I don't remember if I said this in the Rev video or if it was on Twitter, but Asmongold and Hassan agree on something for once.
This is kind of
ironically enough
conversation because
they're both normies, right?
Kind of sneaks into this, and that is because he sees the new character called Eevee. I know, interesting tie to Eve, and yeah, there's an interview where they say there's going to be a tie. I thought it was funny. There was a lot of content creators saying this was going to be a prequel, and I'm like, no, this is. They said it was a sequel, and it was probably years in advance in the story, right? But it's just easy to work out how the story is going to be just from seeing a trailer, while others are still having a brain fart. But when looking at Asmongold's take, it's kind of weird because straight away he's like, oh, this character looks 12. And before Asmongold claims it, he's never said that. I still have the clips up proving that he called it a 12-year-old. That sounds like a 30-year-old. So,
Yep.
Asmongold, you can't just rewrite history a little bit, but that's apparently people are claiming that he said he never said that. I haven't seen him say that. But in this specific clip here, it shows that Asmongold really doesn't have a good grasp of what the word lolly means, but also just his takes are very hypocritical. And I was watching another content creator talking about it. And
I mean, I'm not surprised. A lot of the people that are, always arguing against lolly, they don't actually know what the fuck lolly means. They don't know what the meaning is.
I think they brought up some valid points, but while I was watching it, I had my own points as well. And this goes for about 2 minutes, so we'll have an interesting time breaking down his points. So I was originally going to play this clip and react to it and break it down piece by piece. I can't really do that, and I'm genuinely curious to see if other content creators have had this problem, but there is copyrighted music in there. There's like, straight away, the first song they play is like ABBA. And I'm just like, okay, I'm not going to risk losing my channel over some copyright claims or some musics or even getting a copyright strike. So it makes it really hard to react to this. I don't know if that's just deliberate. It's really annoying. I did see another content creator does react to this. I don't know if they've ran into problems. I'm not willing to run the risk. I've worked too hard on my channel run the risk of getting a copyright strike and losing anything on this. But I will go over a couple of key points that I remember from the clip itself. The first one is that he talks about Frieren, saying that
she's not a lolly.
Oh, well, Frieren acts like an adult, but Evie doesn't, and it's like, or implying that Evie doesn't. It's like, well, to start with, you stated in your own first original clip that she looks 12 but sounds
like
13.
a 30-year-old.
And I can go to that original one just here.
Bro, are you looking at?
If we go.
Like, wouldn't that mean, if that's the logic, then wouldn't that mean there's no problems with Evie?
Through just here, right here.
You can definitely see how those two conflict.
You're acting a little strange today.
Why does she look 12 and talk like she's 30?
That's my exact point there. So he says, why does she look 12 and why does she act like or talk or act like she's older? So for me, one, Frieren does act like a child, right? You imply in this clip that Frieren doesn't act like a child. There's a whole scene.
I mean, she literally, her whole thing is like having no impulse control when it comes to treasure, right? Like she's constantly getting into trouble over, treasure, right? She definitely acts childish at times, right? She has her moments, so that's just not true.
She has a tantrum for several days because
that too.
She gets called a name and she doesn't like it, and then she has a tantrum. Frieren is well known for being like a childlike character in the way she behaves and then acting mature. There's that whole point that she can flip-flop. Also, the fact that you talk about how she has a I'm
curious if he's ever actually seen Frieren.
Like an adult body. It's like, dude, she's a flat chest, right? You say that she's not a lolly. I know some people will classify Frieren as a lolly. That is a very much debatable conversation.
I would say she's a lolly, Baba.
Say Hestia is classified as a lolly, which is ironic in itself because a lot of those people say Hestia is not a lolly. But in the light novel and in the anime, it is classified as a big booba lolly. So the word lolly is...
Yep, I would say that Hestia is also a lolly.
...is a very broad definition, right? It's very broad. It's about a body type, not an age demographic, which is ironic because Asmongold's first comeback to this is Frieren is a 1,000-year-old elf. She talks like an adult. That's just not true all the time. Again, Frieren can talk like a child a lot of the times throughout the story, which leads me to believe that you've not watched the anime.
That's what I said! Let's fucking go, man!
Which is like, okay,
what I said.
Like A, you're lying.
Didn't pre-watch, by the way. I just want to put that out there, chat.
Or you just don't know what you're talking about. Her proportions are not childlike. She has a flat chest. Just to be very clear, she's very petite. Right? So that's why some people classify her as a lolly character because she comes under the petite category.
Yep.
Whether you really want to go under that or not, she is shorter. She has a flat chest. but she does have a little bit older aesthetic to it, but she still has some of those,
Yeah, like I said, Lolly Baba.
what they would be classified as lolly aesthetics. If Frieren is a child, you are a R word and shouldn't be allowed to vote. The problem is, Asmongold, throughout your entire point, you create points that you yourself then contradict beforehand. Because you complained about Evie being certain aspects of a character that makes her childlike, but then say that Frieren doesn't have those characteristics when Frieren does have those characteristics. Which demonstrates that you don't know anything about Frieren, but you're also contradicting because they both have similar characteristics, which would then classify them as childlike.
I don't think he's seen Frieren. I don't think he's fucking seen it, chat.
So this is the problem with Asmongold's take, is that
he's either never seen it or he's being a fucking hypocrite.
It does fall very short of understanding what he's trying to talk about. The other thing, though, too, and this is something I've said in my tweets, is that Asian women can be 40 years old and look 20. They can be 30 and look 20. I think the problem is a lot of Americans and even Europeans, and even in Australia, right? We have this over here, where you see women that are in their 20s, early, mid, even late 20s, that look like they're in their 30s and 40s, right? It's one of those where it's like, some people just have youth on them. And this also follows the same situation with Eve, is that it is based on a model. It is based on an actor. It's all taken from there. And that woman is also of legal age. She is a full-grown adult. So I feel like anyone that sees instantly a 12-year-old or a child in this character, I personally think
projection!
There's something more wrong with them than there is anything else. But apparently we're not allowed to have a vote because we dare disagree with Asmongold while he sits there in the clip saying, hey,
naturally,
let's not get defensive, let's not get all personal, while he proceeds to do exactly that. But I just think Asmongold...
Massive L take from
basics.
Asmon, man.
He does create a diagram here as well, which is ironic because he talks about how he doesn't want people to create gotcha questions and gotcha moments and try and stick to facts and everything, but he's creating a fictional graph in his head based on a fake scenario. Also, his whole comeback with, and this was in another specific tweet where he talks about in that clip, would you let a person that likes lollies babysit your 6-year-old? I think, one, that is a loaded question.
Yeah, I remember that.
You've removed all the context out of it, and it's a bad faith question. It's a loaded question.
Yeah, it's, again, it's a gotcha. It's a loaded question. He complains about this shit all the time, but here he is doing that same shit.
It's a gotcha question. And you know that, but then you proceed to complain about gotcha questions, which is why I think at the end of the day, having, and I've seen people say, oh, you know, there should be a debate between Chibi Reviews and Asmongold in this. Chibi is not a good debater. And I say that as someone that knows Chibi and is on good terms with Chibi, and I like Chibi to, you know, he makes his mistakes, but I'm being honest here. As much as I like Chibi, he's not a good debater. And
yeah, but I saw that as well, and it's like, why are you trying to drag Chibi into a drama that really has nothing to do with him? Why? What's the point of that? And again, yeah, I would agree with Spiritu. Like, I don't think Chibi would do good in a debate. First of all, there's no reason for Chibi to debate Asmongold on this. So Chibi wouldn't gain anything from that. And, yeah, Chibi would not do well in a debate like that with Asmongold. Debates are already hard. It's like I said on Twitter, right? Debates are already hard enough as it is. And to debate someone like Asmongold, you have to be ready for blood sports, right? You have to be ready to do a blood sports debate, right? It's like something like Andrew Wilson, right? You have to be prepared for something like that. You have to be level-headed. You have to be prepared, right? It's like what we see with Andrew Wilson or Warren Smith, right? We've reacted to a couple of debates here and there, and you have to be prepared, and you have to be capable of, remaining focused and spotting, traps that your opponent may be trying to set for you. There's just so much happening in a debate.
He's admitted that he doesn't
that
like
Chibi
debating.
would not.
He doesn't. He's not.
Chibi
good at
would not
debating
be
because
prepared
he's a very
for.
shy person. So I've seen that argument that Asmongold and Chibi should debate. Neither of them want to debate. But also, there is no value in having a debate between a person that is already headstrong in their point of view and is not willing to listen to reason and actual conversation in how he's wrong. Because Asmongold he is crashing out here. He's not handling the criticism well. He's absolutely throwing a lot of personal attacks at people. He's just being childish about it, and he's being defensive.
He's being emotional, the very fucking thing that he criticizes.
But this is the problem. Asmongold does like to apply two sets of rules. Rules for thee, but not for me kind of mindset. And I just don't think it's fair how he's acting in this way. But again, he's going to double down. He's going to triple down, even though he's getting absolutely railed in the comments. That also being said, I do find it kind of ironic that there are specific content creators that are calling out the left for having the exact same views, but won't criticize Asmongold as well for having the exact. And two of those is Hirohei and Revsed Desu. I've seen their videos on it. They're calling out the left on this, but they haven't talked about Asmongold's take on this, which is exactly the same as the ones that they're criticizing. So I do think there is a specific level of some people are a little bit too scared to criticize Asmongold on this.
100%. 100%. I agree. I didn't see Hirohei comment on it, but I at the very least I did see Rev comment on this, which I was very surprised. I'll be honest. I did not think Rev would actually acknowledge the whole Asmongold thing. But it's again, it's like I said. And on one hand, I can understand why you, I suppose, would be afraid of criticizing Asmongold. He's a fairly big voice, and you don't want to alienate, I guess, his big audience, right? But on the other hand, it's like, okay, well, if you can't criticize your own side, then how are you any different from the left? We criticized the left constantly for not being able to criticize their own side and being a fucking cult. But the right is now doing the exact same fucking thing.
Want to upset that little echo chamber, that little bubble that they've built. Again, I don't care if I ruffle a couple of feathers. I will call out all sides of the spectrum no matter what, because I don't have a loyalty to the left or the right. And I think it's fair to criticize both where needed. But I've definitely seen some content creators being a little bit too scared to be genuine in their own opinions.
Yeah, and I saw Smash JT also talk about it, so shout out to Smash as well.
And it feels like they're more focused on attacking a side.
A lot of people just did not want to criticize Asmongold. I guess they were just like afraid to. I don't know why, but yeah, they they're not touching with a 10-foot pole.
Rather than attacking an actual point of view that they believe is wrong. And I think it would be fair if those content creators actually criticize Asmongold for his take on this, which is very much in the same area as what the others are saying. That it's, again, pedo bait, right? Asmongold isn't directly saying that, but
he's definitely sort of dancing around it.
It definitely falls into
line. You can infer
it. Push this whole idea of these kinds of mindsets, which, by the way, some people have used a different graph here when it comes to GTA, and yeah. So you can use that same simple graph and spin it however you want, Asmongold.
Yep.
Which is why it is a bad faith point to begin with, because it just doesn't hold weight. Also, you're asking for people that debunk you to have facts and evidence and data referencing, but you don't have any data referencing here.
Yep.
Right? You just
not only do you completely discard the again, going back to the Emerald debate, completely disregarding the three sources that Emerald brings, and you build your entire fucking argument off of a fucking graph that you made with no sort of data and your gut feeling.
Making it up.
Why are you entitled to be disproven with facts and sources, but you don't have to do the same
out of your head based on a personal opinion, which is fine, have an opinion, but then to sit there and say, please provide the data you're referencing while you don't have any yourself, that's just completely off the top of your head. It's a bad faith attack. And I think Asmongold knows to some degree that he's doing that. I just don't think he wants to admit that he's at fault because he's been stubborn and childish.
Yeah, I don't think he wants to admit that he's wrong.
Maybe it's the shirt that's corrupting him. I don't know. but I generally would like to see him come to a little bit of reasoning rather than getting so personal and just trying to build bad faith gotcha moments, because it's not helping. And I will go over this in more detail on my stream. I just can't play this clip because it's got copyrighted music, and I'm not willing to risk my channel for that. So I hope you understand. I might go over it and write some
I
points down
understand.
for a
I
stream,
get it.
and we'll see where things go. And then again, you can
I don't know I had copyrighted music, by the way.
jump in the stream chat and question it, play it yourself, throw some points out, and we can have a conversation about it at a later point. So again, see you in the next video.
There you have it, ladies and germs. That is the whole Frieren Stellar Blade Asmongold situation. That is a fucking mouthful. I might actually title it that when we put this on YouTube. That is the situation, and yeah, again, it's like, I think Asmongold is just being really bad faith. I think Asmongold is doing the things that he criticizes, and I think he just simply doesn't want to admit that he's wrong. But yeah, that is basically it. That's pretty much it.